Johnson, Wei Yang, Yingzhi, Sean. Who's gonna come now? Who else? That's alright. You guys know what to do? So these are our 4 musketeers, and I guess you all know what to do. Ready? At your level 10, I want you to repeat this chant, okay? 1, 2, 3.
So what? Who cares? What's in it for me? It's all about me.
Can you give them a hand? You all laugh, huh? Very fun, right? Now your turn to do. Okay, let me explain before that. Do you realize that this is this is the thing that goes on in your audience here? Every time you're standing up here to speak, or every time you try to sell your audience something, or you try to speak to your audience, whoever it is, whether it's your boss, your employer, your clients, your student, your friends, every time you say something, the first thing that comes in the mind is, so what? Who cares? Right? What's it got to do with me? Because at the end of the day, whatever that people care about is themselves. You have to be able to relate your presentation to your audience. Okay, so I'd like you all to try that. Make it fun, right? So do it in the most comedic way possible. Let's pick the funniest person among the group. Okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3, go!
So what? Who cares? What's in it for me? It's all about me.
Wow, you guys are hot, man. I wonder, my friends will say, are you leading a public speaking workshop, or are you leading a group of people to fight the PAP? Alright, big round of applause. Take a sip. Okay, can you remember that? So the next time when you're up here, you've got to get into the heads of your audience. So I'm going to very quickly do some tips, okay? Now, so what I'm going to write here, okay, here's the number 1 fatal mistake that 99% of the speakers commit, including you, and here's how to avoid it. And that is, they forget about the audience. They forget about the audience. They just deliver what they think the audience wants. Alright, I'll give you a good example. One time I was coaching this guy. He's not a presenter, he's just an entrepreneur. And he wanted to sell IT gadgets to people. And he wanted to sell this thing called the GPS system, so something to navigate. And for 7 weeks, he tried to sell and he got 0 sales. And then one day I asked him, so why do you sell GPS system? He said, because people need it. And I asked him, how do you know? Well, I have 2 friends who say they are interested. I said, 2 friends? But 2 friends doesn't represent the world, you know that? And then I took 10 people and asked him, do you want a GPS system? What's a GPS system? Some people don't even know. And all of a sudden, in reality, no one needs a GPS system. And immediately, if he continues doing that, he's never ever going to sell a GPS system, no matter how persuasive it is. So likewise, when you're ever going to do a presentation, or ever going to speak to someone, always ask yourself as a habit, why would the person even want to listen to me? Right? So I'm going to give you a couple of tips. So you got to give value, and here's how to give value. Okay, okay, don't worry. Okay, I know there's quite a bit of text here. What I can do is, do we have the email addresses? I'll send you a resource page of the things that you might miss out. All right, so just listen to me. Okay, so how to give value? The first one is you've got to be able to make your audience business and personal life better. At the end of the day, they feel better. Okay, number 2. Okay, it could be a 3-step strategy, it could be a book recommendation, and most of it all, you can solve a problem. So that's the kind of presentation that will always, 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 draw people. I'll give you a very quick example. Yesterday we were judging at a business presentation, a business competition, and one of the group that stood out was this equipment. And they start off the presentation like this. Unlike all their groups, they start off this. Imagine if you have an old folk or old person at home. No one is at home, it's late in the afternoon, and he accidentally falls in the kitchen. Sprained his ankle, there was no way he can call for help, and he is stuck there. Imagine if that person is your loved one. What would you do? For those of you who are worried about leaving your loved ones behind, we have invented a product that can help you. You see where I'm coming from? They set it up very beautifully, a problem that can happen to all of us before they give us a solution, which is what we want to listen to. This is how you want to prepare a presentation. Okay, I'll give you more examples in a bit. Okay. Never ever do a presentation like this. Doesn't make sense. It's like, duh, right? Because some people, when they deliver a presentation, it's like beat around the bush. At the end of it, it doesn't make sense. So this is where I'm going to start covering the make sense and make meaning. Okay? every time you deliver a presentation, you gotta ask yourself, is it clear enough? Do my audience actually get what I'm trying to say? So it's basic communication. If I say X, do they get X? If I say Y, do they get Y? That's called making sense, all right? So here's what I'd like you guys to do in the presentation. Get to the point. You see that? I found this in America. It's really cool. All right, so you got to get to the point. Now, here are 3 questions that you can ask yourself each time you deliver a presentation. First one, does my speech contain substance? Does it have value? Number 2, can my audience use it right away? And number 3, do they feel better after my speech? So these are some questions that you can ask every time you deliver a presentation. Whether it's a school presentation, a sales pitch, or an entrepreneurial pitch, or just a conversation with a person, right? Are we going too fast? You're following? Right, going too fast, just raise your hands and we'll slow it down, right? Let's keep this. Oh, wait. Oh, oops. I destroyed it. Oops. Okay, never mind. You don't see anything?
No.
Fine, never mind. No prize for any winner there. Okay, you follow so far? Right, so it's about getting into the heads of the audience. Now, of course, a long time ago, we created this little puzzle, which I'm sure you know the answer right now. Do you know the answer, Kenneth? Do you see the answer?
Just now,
Yeah. Oh. Alright, fine, never mind. Okay, yesterday, okay, when we were doing this topic, I got the students to guess, what does this sentence mean? And of course, you guys are so genius, I'm sure the answer you know. What's the answer? Oh my god, you guys wrong, man. Your eyes are so fast. Okay, so it took a long while. I think about 1 minute and 10 seconds later, one of the students managed to get it. But of course, another student thought he got it because he wrote there, you guys suck. And then I realized that, hey, yeah, actually you can also do that. But that was not what I meant. What I really wanted to tell them was, you guys rock. Now, what's the whole distinction here? There are 2 distinctions I'd like you to remember. Very, very important, okay? Please remember that. Huh? Distinction number 1. You might remember that. People do not remember boring things. Okay? People do not remember boring things. Now, let me go back again. If I'm to ask 10 days later after this program, you know what, heck, not even 10 days. Tomorrow morning I call you. I say, hey, hi, Hong Wu. I want to ask you, right, there's a slide, we have some alphabets. Can you tell me what the alphabets are? No, there's this one. So you must say GRS and then space bar. Chances are you're not going to remember. Unless you make a conscious effort to remember, and even if you do, you might forget. Because maybe, some of us, we cannot retain, right? And the thing is that most of the presentations are just a mumbo jumbo of information. And therefore, we do not remember them. Because it doesn't make sense. See, a lot of speakers have a misconception. They think that presentation is about downloading information. This is what I know, nah, there you go. That's not the job. A person can read, they can read your report. So they don't need you. The job of a presenter is objective number 2. You have to make meaning. You have to be able to tell them why you nut this information to them. Why is the information that you just delivered so important to them? Does that answer your question? So you have to connect the dots. Follow so far? So instead of just immediately selling you the product and saying, hey, you need this device for all the old people in your family, that's just giving the information. You have to first explain why is it so important for them to have it. The why part is missing. So you have to make meaning. So therefore, you can't remember this. But when I arrange the alphabets in such a way now, you will remember this because you guys make sense and it has a meaning. Agree? Now there's another distinction that I'd like you to take note, and that is human beings recognize patterns. Human beings recognize patterns. Do you realize that these alphabets have been arranged in such a way that now it forms words? Likewise, let me answer this question. Someone actually mentioned, how do we memorize our speech? It's a wrong question to ask. You never ever memorize your speech. Why?